I woke up on the bathroom floor at 3 in the morning, and the first thing I thought was, this is how I die. Alone. 58 years old. Blood pooling under my cheek from where I'd cracked my head on the tile. My phone was in the bedroom, 10 feet away, but might as well have been 10 miles. I couldn't move my left side. Couldn't feel my leg. Couldn't scream because my throat had closed up with panic. And the only thing running through my mind was, my son is going to find my body, and he's going to blame himself, and I'll never get to tell him the truth. But here's the thing, I didn't die on that bathroom floor. A neighbor heard the thud through our apartment building's paper-thin walls and called 911. I woke up in County Memorial Hospital 3 days later with a stroke diagnosis, kidney failure, and a doctor telling me I had maybe 6 months without a transplant. My son Daniel was sitting beside my bed, holding my hand, crying harder than I'd seen since his father left when he was 7 years old. He looked at me with those same brown eyes that used to beg for bedtime stories and said, "Mom, I'll give you one of mine. I'm a match. I already checked." I should have said yes. I should have thanked God and hugged him and accepted the gift. But instead, I said 4 words that would detonate everything. No, absolutely not. Never. Because I knew something about Daniel that he didn't know I knew. And if I took his kidney, it would kill us both. Let me back up. Let me tell you about the 11 months before that bathroom floor, before the stroke, before the moment my past came back wearing my son's face and asking to save my life. It started with a phone call from a woman named Patricia Chen. I didn't recognize the number, some Los Angeles area code, but I answered because I was waiting to hear about a job interview that could finally get me out of debt. Instead, I got this. "Mrs. Morrison? This is Patricia Chen. I'm calling about your son, Daniel Morrison. I'm his birth mother." The world tilted. I actually sat down on my kitchen floor, back against the cabinets, trying to process words that made no sense. "I'm his mother," I said stupidly. "You adopted him. I gave birth to him. And I need to tell you something important before he finds out on his own." Patricia's voice was calm, clinical, like she was reading from a script. "Daniel is trying to contact me through one of those DNA ancestry sites. He's going to find me soon. And when he does, he's going to discover something about his biological family that will destroy him if he's not prepared." My hand was shaking so hard I could barely hold the phone. Daniel is 26 years old. I'd adopted him when he was 3 days old through a closed adoption. I'd signed papers promising never to seek out his birth family. I'd spent 26 years being enough, being everything, being the only mother he needed. What is he going to discover? I asked. Patricia was silent for a long moment. Then, "I'm calling from San Quentin State Prison, Mrs. Morrison. I've been here for 23 years. I murdered someone. And Daniel's biological father? He's on death row in Texas. We're both monsters. And our genetics are inside your son. He needs to know before he has children of his own. Before he thinks he's someone he's not." I hung up, just pressed the button and ended the call like I could end the information along with it. Then I sat on my kitchen floor for 2 hours, staring at nothing, my entire understanding of my son's origin story crumbling around me. I didn't tell Daniel. That was my first massive mistake. But I swear I was trying to protect him. Daniel had always been intense. Even as a baby, he'd had this way of staring at you that felt like he could see straight through to your bones. He'd been a difficult child, not bad, just combustible. Tantrums that lasted hours. Fixations on dark things, death and violence, and true crime documentaries by the time he was 12. I'd taken him to therapists who diagnosed ADHD, maybe some ODD, possibly early signs of a personality disorder, but too young to say for sure. But he was also brilliant, sweet when he wanted to be, funny. He protected me after his father left, this 7-year-old boy sleeping outside my bedroom door for months because he was afraid someone would hurt me. He'd worked 2 jobs to put himself through community college. He'd called me every single Sunday for 8 years, no matter what. He was a good son. He was my son. And Patricia Chen's phone call felt like someone trying to steal that from me with science and history and blood that didn't matter compared to love. So I didn't tell him. I watched him send off his DNA sample to Ancestry.com. I watched him get excited about potentially finding siblings, cousins, a medical history. I watched him start dating this sweet girl named Rebecca who wanted kids someday. And I said nothing. 3 months after Patricia's call, Daniel showed up at my apartment at 11 at night, let himself in with his key, and I found him standing in my living room with his laptop open and tears streaming down his face. "Did you know?" he asked. Just those 3 words. Know what? I was a coward. I knew exactly what he'd found. My birth mother is a murderer. She killed her boyfriend when she was 19, stabbed him 47 times. It's all in the court documents. Her name is Patricia Chun, and she's in prison for life without parole, and you never fucking told me. I never heard Daniel swear at me. Not once in 26 years. I just found out. I lied. A few weeks ago. She called. I didn't want to tell you until I knew more, until I could figure out how to. She called you weeks ago? Daniel's voice went up an octave. You've known for weeks that I'm genetically related to a psychopath, and you said nothing? What else did she tell you? What else are you hiding? Nothing. I swear nothing. But he could tell I was lying. He'd always been able to tell. He grabbed his laptop, grabbed his keys, and left without another word. I called after him, texted him, left voicemails. He didn't respond for 4 days. When he finally called back, his voice was different. Flat. Cold. I found my biological father too. His name is Marcus Webb. He's on death row in Texas. Killed 3 people during a robbery in 2001. Mom, I'm the son of 2 murderers. Do you understand what that means? Do you understand what's inside me? Daniel, genetics don't. Don't give me that nature versus nurture bullshit. I've spent my entire life feeling wrong. Feeling like there's something dark in me that I have to constantly fight. And now I know why. It's in my DNA. I'm wired for violence. You're wired for kindness, I said desperately. You're wired for love. You're my son, Daniel. You're who you choose to be. I need space, he said. I need to figure out who I am without you telling me who I'm supposed to be. He stopped calling, stopped visiting. I'd see him sometimes on social media. He didn't block me, just ignored me. I watched from a distance as he broke up with Rebecca, as he quit his job at the tech startup, as he moved to a different apartment without giving me the address. 6 months after he found out about Patricia and Marcus, I got a call from the police. Daniel had been arrested for assault. He'd gotten into a fight at a bar and put a man in the hospital with a fractured skull and internal bleeding. The victim had apparently said something that triggered Daniel. The police report said something about his mother, and Daniel had snapped. Security footage showed him hitting the guy once, then continuing to hit him while he was unconscious on the ground. It took 3 people to pull him off. I bailed him out. I sat across from him in the police station waiting room, and he looked at me with such emptiness that I felt physically sick. I told you, he said quietly. I told you there was something wrong with me. Patricia stabbed her boyfriend 47 times. I could have killed that guy last night. I wanted to kill him. I felt my mother's rage, and it felt right. Daniel, you had too much to drink. Someone provoked you. Stop making excuses for me. His voice echoed off the walls. I'm dangerous. I'm my parents' son. And the worst part? Part of me is glad. Part of me is relieved that I don't have to pretend anymore. I know what I am now. The assault charge got reduced to a misdemeanor with probation because the victim had started the confrontation and Daniel had no prior record. But something had broken in my son. He started visiting Patricia in prison. He told me about it in a brief, cold email. He started corresponding with Marcus on death row. He started researching his real family with the same intensity he'd once brought to his computer science degree. And me? I was losing him, not to prison or death or distance, but to an identity he was constructing out of the worst parts of his genetic history. Then, 8 months before my stroke, Patricia called me again. He's asking questions about medical history, she said, without preamble. He wants to know if there's anything hereditary he should worry about. I need you to tell him the truth before I do. What truth? I have polycystic kidney disease. Genetic, hereditary, degenerative. I'm on dialysis in here. Daniel has a 70% chance of having it too. And if he does, he needs to know before he makes any major life decisions. What kind of decisions? Patricia's laugh was bitter. He's talking about having kids with some new girlfriend. He's talking about how he needs to carry on the bloodline, prove he can create something good from bad genetics. He's spiraling, Mrs. Morrison. And if he doesn't get tested, if he doesn't know about the kidney disease, he could die young. Or worse, he could pass it on. I made an appointment with Daniel, begged him to meet me for coffee. He showed up 20 minutes late, looking thin and exhausted. You need to get tested for kidney disease, I said. Patricia has it. It's genetic. Daniel stared at me for a long time. Did she ask you to tell me that? Yes, but... So now you're her messenger. Now you're helping my real mother communicate with me. That's rich. She's not your real mother. I am. You're the woman who adopted me and lied to me my entire life. Patricia is the woman who gave me life, and at least has the decency to be honest about who she is. I know which one I respect more.
He left. Didn't get tested.
I called his new girlfriend, a woman named Melissa I'd found through his social media, and warned her about the kidney disease. She accused me of harassment and blocked me. That's when I started feeling sick. The fatigue came first, then the nausea, then the swelling in my ankles. I ignored it for months because I was so focused on Daniel, on trying to save him from himself. By the time I finally went to the doctor, my kidneys were functioning at 30%. Polycystic kidney disease. Genetic. Hereditary. Do you have a family history? The doctor asked. No, I said automatically. Then I realized I did. Not my family, but I'd been Daniel's mother for 26 years. And apparently, whatever genetic curse Patricia had passed to him, it had somehow found me too. Or maybe it was just a cosmic joke. Or maybe, and this is what haunted me, maybe the stress of losing Daniel had literally destroyed my organs from the inside out.
I deterioratet fast.
Within 4 months, I was on dialysis. Within 6 months, I was on the transplant list. Within 8 months, I was dying. And that's when I collapsed on the bathroom floor and Daniel found out, and he offered me his kidney without knowing the truth. No, I said from my hospital bed. You can't give me your kidney. Daniel looked confused, then hurt, then angry. Why not? I'm a match. They already tested me. Mom, you're dying. Let me save you. Because you might have the same disease. Because if you give me one of your kidneys and you have PKD, you'll die young. You'll be on dialysis by the time you're 40. You'll destroy your life to give me a few more years. I don't care.
Ikare.
Then let me make my own decision. Daniel's voice broke. For once in my life, let me choose something without you deciding what's best for me. That's when I told him everything. Patricia's first phone call, the warnings, the genetic disease, the fact that I'd kept it all from him because I was terrified of losing him to a history that had nothing to do with the man he'd become. Daniel listened in silence. When I finished, he stood up, walked to the window, and stared out at the parking lot for a full minute. So you knew, he finally said. You knew about Patricia being a murderer. You knew about the kidney disease. You knew everything and you lied to me. Again. I was protecting you.
No.
You were protecting yourself. From losing me. From facing the fact that I came from somewhere dark and maybe that darkness is part of who I am. It's not. Yes, it is. Daniel whirled around. I put a man in the hospital, Mom. I broke his skull. And when I was doing it, all I could think was that this is what Patricia felt. This is what Marcus felt. This rage, this violence, it's in me. It's genetic. And you can't love it away or lie it away or protect me from it. Then get tested, I said quietly. Get tested for PKD. If you have it, you can't give me the kidney anyway. If you don't, we'll talk. But I need to know you're safe before I let you risk yourself for me. Daniel agreed. Mostly, I think, because he wanted to prove me wrong. He got tested. We waited 3 weeks for results. During that time, he visited me every day. We didn't talk about Patricia or Marcus or genetics. We just existed together. He brought me books. I told him stories from when he was little. For 3 weeks, we were almost okay. Then the results came back. And everything I thought I knew about my son, about his past, about the truth, it all exploded. Daniel didn't have PKD. His kidneys were perfect. Healthy. No genetic markers for disease at all. That's impossible, I said when the doctor told us. His birth mother has it. It's hereditary. The doctor looked uncomfortable. Well, it's possible he got lucky. Genetics are complicated. Or he hesitated. Is there any chance Patricia Chen isn't actually his biological mother? The question hung in the air like smoke. Daniel and I looked at each other. The adoption was closed, I said slowly. But they gave me medical history. They told me Patricia was his mother. They showed me documentation. I'll call the adoption agency, Daniel said. His voice was strange.
Tight.
It took 2 days of calls and one threatened lawsuit before the agency finally sent over the original documentation. Daniel and I read through it together in my hospital room. And there, on page 7 of his adoption file, was a note that had never been included in my copy. Birth mother identity confirmed via infant DNA testing performed at County Memorial Hospital, 1999. Sample collected by RN Michelle Morrison. My name, my signature. From when I was a labor and delivery nurse at this exact hospital 26 years ago. You took the DNA sample, Daniel said softly. You were there when I was born. I don't remember, I whispered. But even as I said it, something was flickering at the edge of my memory. A night shift in 1999. A teenage girl in labor, screaming, no family with her. Another nurse asking me to collect a sample for some legal reason I hadn't questioned. The baby with brown eyes that had stared at me like he could see my soul.
No, it couldn't be.
But Daniel was already on his phone, already pulling up the court documents from Patricia Chen's trial, already finding the dates. Patricia had been arrested in March 1999. Daniel had been born in November 1999. She was in prison when I was born, Daniel said. She was already in prison. So, who the hell gave birth to me? I couldn't breathe, because suddenly I was remembering more. The teenage girl who'd given me a fake name. The way she'd refused all visitors. The way she'd signed the adoption papers and then vanished from the hospital before dawn, leaving her newborn baby behind. The way she'd had the same brown eyes as Daniel. The same intense stare. The same, oh my God, I whispered. Daniel, I need to tell you something. But before I could, his phone rang. He answered it, listened for a moment, then his face went white. That was the private investigator I hired last month, he said. He found my real birth mother. Her name is Jessica Morrison. She died of a drug overdose in 2003.
He looked at me.
Morrison.
Like you.
Like us. The hospital room spun. I gripped the bed rails.
No, I said.
That's not possible. He's sending me her photo. From her death certificate and Daniel's phone buzzed. He looked at the screen. Looked at me. Looked back at the screen. Then he turned his phone around so I could see. The woman in the photo was my niece. My brother's daughter. The girl who disappeared when she was 16 and who we'd never found. Jessica was your cousin, I said numbly. Your birth mother was my niece. Which means you're my great-aunt. Not just my adoptive mother. We're actually related. Daniel was shaking. Did you know? When you adopted me, did you know?
No.
I swear to God, no. She gave a fake name at the hospital. She was only 16. I hadn't seen her in years. My brother and I weren't speaking. I didn't recognize her. I processed her DNA sample and forgot about it. That happened 100 times a month. But when you adopted me 3 days later, the agency never told me the mother's name. It was a closed adoption. I requested a newborn. They called me when one became available. I said yes. I never knew. Daniel, I never knew. We sat in silence, both of us trying to process what this meant. Daniel wasn't the son of murderers. He was the son of my troubled niece and some unknown father. His genetic history wasn't violence and psychopathy, it was addiction and mental illness, and maybe just bad luck. Patricia Chen lied, Daniel finally said. She told me she was my mother. She let me believe I was the child of a murderer. Why would she do that? I thought about it. About a woman in prison for life, probably lonely, probably looking for connection. About a young man desperate to understand his darkness, who showed up asking if she was his mother. Maybe she wanted to matter to someone, I said. Maybe she saw you and wanted to give you an answer, even if it was the wrong one. Or maybe... I stopped. Maybe what? Maybe she has a son out there who she gave up for adoption. And maybe when you showed up, she convinced herself you were him. DNA sites aren't perfect. Maybe she saw your profile and wanted so badly for you to be hers that she just believed it. Daniel's phone rang again. The private investigator. This time, the news was different. Patricia Chen had given birth to a baby boy in March 1999, the month before her arrest. She'd given him up for adoption. His name was Daniel Marcus Webb. The adoption agency had been the same one that placed my Daniel. "There's another Daniel," my son whispered. "Somewhere out there, there's Patricia's real son." And she mixed us up. A case of mistaken identity that had derailed his entire life. A lie that had built his identity around violence he'd never inherited. A darkness he believed was in his DNA that had never existed at all. "The man you put in the hospital," I said. "What did he say to you? What made you snap?" Daniel closed his eyes. He said, "Your mother must be so proud of what a piece of shit you turned out to be." And I thought about Patricia, about how she'd killed someone, and how I was just like her. So I hit him, and I kept hitting him, because I'd accepted that I was a monster. But you're not. You never were. Then why did I do it? If it's not genetics, if I'm not wired for violence, then what's my excuse? I reached for his hand. "You did it because you're human. Because you were hurt and drunk and angry. Because someone pushed the exact right button at the exact wrong time. Not because of your DNA. Because of your pain." Daniel started crying. Not the silent tears from when he'd found out about Patricia. Full body sobs that shook the hospital bed. I held him the way I'd held him when he was 7 and his father left. The way I'd held him when he was 14 and kids at school called him weird. The way I should have held him 11 months ago when his world first fell apart. "I still want to give you my kidney," he said when he could finally speak. "Not because I owe you, not because of genetics, but because you're my mom, the only one who ever mattered." And I almost lost that because I was so obsessed with finding out where I came from that I forgot who raised me. "Daniel, let me finish. I was so angry at you for lying. For keeping Patricia's call a secret, for not telling me about the kidney disease. But you were trying to protect me. And yeah, maybe you were wrong. Maybe I needed to know. But everything you did came from love. Real love. The kind that doesn't come from DNA." He took a breath. Patricia's love, or whatever it was, came from loneliness. She latched onto me because she needed a son, any son, even if he wasn't really hers.
But you chose me. You fought for me.
You worked night shifts for 26 years to give me a life. You're my mother, the only one that counts. I was crying too now. I should have told you the truth from the beginning. About Patricia's call. About everything. I just kept thinking if I could protect you from the bad news, if I could shelter you from your history. I didn't need sheltering. I needed honesty. But I also needed to grow up and stop blaming my genetics for my choices. I put that man in the hospital because I chose to. Not because of Patricia's DNA, because of my own anger and my own lack of control. And I have to own that. The surgery was scheduled for 3 weeks later. Daniel was a perfect match. Not because of any genetic connection I'd passed to him, but just because sometimes the universe gets it right. The transplant was successful. I woke up with my son's kidney inside me, quite literally keeping me alive. But the story doesn't end there. It ends with a phone call I got 6 months later, after I'd recovered, after Daniel and I had rebuilt our relationship on a foundation of actual truth. The caller identified himself as Daniel Marcus Webb, Patricia Chen's real biological son. The private investigator had tracked him down, and he'd gotten my number from the adoption agency. "I hear you know my birth mother," he said. His voice was calm, measured. Nothing like my Daniel's intensity. And I hear your son thought he was me for a while." "Yes," I said carefully. "I'm sorry about the confusion." "Don't be. It's actually kind of funny when you think about it. 2 Daniels, 2 adoption agencies, 2 completely different lives." He paused. "I'm calling because Patricia reached out to me. She wants to meet. She wants to explain herself, apologize, whatever. And I'm trying to decide if I want to open that door. What does your adoptive mother think?" "She died 3 years ago.
Cancer.
So I guess I'm flying solo on this decision." I thought about my Daniel, about how desperate he'd been for answers about his origins, about how much damage those answers had caused when they were wrong. "Can I give you some advice?" I asked.
Sure.
"Your genetics don't define you. Patricia Chen's violence, her mental illness, whatever darkness she carries, it's hers, not yours. If you meet her, do it because you're curious. Do it because you want closure. But don't do it because you think she has answers about who you are. You've already decided that yourself, whether you realize it or not." Daniel Marcus Webb was quiet for a moment. Then, "Your son is lucky to have a mother who understands that." "I'm lucky too," I said. "I got to raise him." We talked for an hour. He told me about his life. He was a high school teacher, married, 2 kids, happy. He told me he'd always known he was adopted and had never felt any burning need to find his birth parents. The outreach from Patricia had surprised him, intrigued him, but hadn't consumed him. He was everything my Daniel might have been if I'd told him the truth from the start. If I'd given him the space to define himself instead of trying to protect him from his history. Before we hung up, he said something that stayed with me. "Tell your Daniel that we're both proof genetics don't matter. I'm Patricia's biological son, and I turned out fine. He's not her biological son, and he turned out fine too. We're just 2 guys who got to choose who we became. That's the gift, right? The choice." I'm 61 years old now. It's been 3 years since the transplant. Daniel is engaged to a wonderful woman named Sarah who knows his whole story and loves him anyway. He's been sober from alcohol for 3 years. He's in therapy. He's learning that he's not defined by the violence he committed or the genetics he thought he inherited. He calls me every Sunday, like he did before everything fell apart. We have dinner every Tuesday. He's teaching me about computers and websites and all the things he learned in his degree program. I'm teaching him my mother's recipes, the ones I never had time to make when he was little because I was working so much. We're rebuilding.
Slowly.
Honestly. Last month, we drove together to the cemetery where Jessica, his real birth mother, my niece, is buried. We put flowers on her grave. Daniel cried. I told him what I remembered about her. Bright, troubled, creative, lost. "She gave me up because she loved me," Daniel said. "And you took me in because you loved me."
And that's the story.
Not Patricia. Not murder. Not genetics. Just love. I think about that sometimes, about how close we came to losing each other. How a lie or a series of lies almost destroyed the most important relationship in my life. How we both got so obsessed with DNA and history and origin stories that we forgot the only story that mattered, the one we'd built together over 26 years. My house isn't quiet anymore. Daniel visits 3 times a week. Sarah's there often too. They're talking about kids, about making me a grandmother. And sometimes I think about how those future grandchildren will carry Daniel's genetics, Jessica's genetics, my family's genetics, and how it won't matter at all. Because what I know now, what I wish I'd known 3 years ago, is this. Biology is just a starting point. It's not a destiny. And the people who love you, who choose you, who show up for you day after day, those are your real family. Not the ones who share your blood. My son gave me his kidney, but I gave him something more important. I gave him the truth. Finally. And the truth set both of us free. That's the real transplant. The one that saved us both. Some voices stay silent for years. But here, every story finds its sound. Like, subscribe, and stay with the silent parents.